Suppose I gave you the expression 5x squared plus 3x plus 2 and ask you to underline the 2. You might give me a confused look and ask, which 2 do you mean? Because there are two 2's in that expression. So in order to be able to talk intelligently about which of the two 2's I mean you to look at, we need some vocabulary terms that will allow us to pick this expression apart into smaller pieces and to intelligently discuss those pieces by their names. This type of thinking, where we break something down into smaller, more easily describable parts, is called analytical thinking. So the process of doing this is called analysis. We're going to learn the terms we need to analyze an expression, and that is going to be invaluable to us as we learn what these expressions mean and what we can use them for later on. The first piece of the expression we want to analyze is called a variable. Variables are represented by letters in an expression. The variable in an expression is just a placeholder. It indicates that there will be some number in that place, but that the number we're using doesn't matter as much as what we're doing to that number. In fact, we can use any number we like in that place. You will most often see the letter X used as a variable. However, most other letters are perfectly fine. There are a few, such as a lowercase e, that have other meanings, and there are a few, like a lowercase l and the letter O, that look too much like numbers and so are generally avoided. But in theory, any symbol can be used as a variable. The next piece of the expression that we want to take a look at is called a term. A term is a part of an expression that is separated from the rest of the expression by addition or subtraction symbols. Terms can include inside of them, but don't have to include, multiplication, exponents, numbers, variables, just no addition or subtraction. The addition or subtraction symbol that is in front of the term, however, is considered part of that term. We will hear more about that when we look at coefficients. We can also classify terms by the variable that they contain. A term that contains no variable at all is described as a constant term. Constant meaning unchanging. If the term has a variable, but the variable has no exponent, we describe the term as being linear. And if the term has a variable that does have an exponent, we would describe that term as nonlinear. The number that is being multiplied by a variable, that is, the number in front of it, is called a coefficient. The sign of the coefficient is determined by the addition or subtraction symbol that is in front of the term. The leading coefficient is the coefficient of the first term of the expression. It will only have a sign in front of it if it is negative, so there will not be a positive sign out front. If that is missing, you can just assume that that leading coefficient is positive. Finally, we want to look at exponents, which are the small numbers written above everything else. This is called superscript writing, super meaning above, script meaning writing. But they're written over the right side of a number or a variable. Exponents can be numbers or variables, and they represent growth, which we will learn more about later in the course. To recap, when we analyze something, we break it into the smaller pieces it is made from, and see how those pieces connect. In order to do this, we need vocabulary to describe those smaller pieces. In an expression, the vocabulary terms that we need to be able to use appropriately are variables, the letters that are used as placeholders for numbers, terms, which are separated from each other by addition and subtraction signs. We need to know how to label a term as being nonlinear, linear, or constant. We need to know what a coefficient is and how we can determine the sign of that coefficient based on the addition or subtraction symbol at the beginning of the term. And we need to be able to identify exponents.